Ghost stories from a seer. Spirit stories. The pacing man. Ooh. I was about to meet with the client and we had 3 days to do a preparation before the session. I go to bed and I'm woken up at exactly 2:16 in the morning and I have a sensation and I look and I see a spirit pacing in my room. I looked and I was like, oh, you're connected to this person I'm about to meet with in 3 days. You're really early. So I put them back into the spiritual waiting room. Second night before, I wake up exactly at 2:16 in the morning and I look and it's pacing. The spirit is pacing and pacing again. And I say, what's up? And this spirit gives me the impression that they're very nervous. They're very, very anxious about the conversation I'm about to have. I try to put them at ease and I say, you got to go back into the waiting room. Now it's the night before. Again, I wake up at 2:16 in the morning and I look and the person is fidgeting in the corner of my room. And I say, okay, what's up? And they said, I'm really nervous that you are going to share information that I am not ready to talk about yet. And I said, oh, got it. So then I reassured this spirit that no matter what happens, I only choose to look at high frequency information and not low frequency information. So the next day, I start my session with this client. And we're talking about a lot of things happening and I'm looking at all the spirits that come in around a person as they're talking. But then the spirit that was fidgeting walks into the room. And I said, hey, so there's someone here, it's a really big energy. And the energy, when we talk about lines, it appeared a line over and a line down. And again, I look at line marks off of people's bodies. A line mark is going to tell me which part of their lineage they are connected to and what that looks like. This one was the same lineage line over and then down. So it looked to me to be a brother. The client says, yes, my brother has passed on. Is there information that you want to share? And the part that gets a little tricky is that the way that this brother came in looked really scary and very challenging. And when they show me that, it tells me that I know that the living person has had a really hard time processing the way that this person was found. I could tell that it was a suicide. So then this pacing man started to pace again. And I told the client, there's about to be some really hard information that I need to share with you. Want to hear more? Stay tuned for part 2. Spirit Stories, Part 2, The Pacing Man. Ooh. So in this session, the spirit of the client's brother has walked into the room and is very, very nervous and is still kind of fidgeting and is also really big and looks to be a suicide. So I press in a little further. I tell the client, this looks to be a suicide. Is there some information that you would like to talk about? Because right now, we're in communication. Obviously, with most suicides, there's a lot of confusion that happens with the living. A lot of questions that they want to have answered. As this is happening, I'm watching the spirit, the brother, the energy get big and then get small. They get kind of like a little bit bigger, then get small, then get smaller, and then smaller. The spirit wasn't feeling diminished. It was starting to shed some of that weight of what that suicide was doing to the living. We talked about a whole bunch of things for the client about what has happened now and how do I receive that information now? But then I had a really important question to ask. I said, out of curiosity, do you happen to know approximately the time that your brother had died? The client said, well, we know it's between the hours of 2 in the morning and 4 in the morning because of the final text that was sent and because of what time the body was found. I told him, I said, well, I know that it was exactly 2:16 in the morning. How do I know that? I know that because 3 days before I had this session, the spirit energy of this brother was coming into my room at exactly 2:16 in the morning and was pacing and pacing and pacing. So what does that tell us? We know that there's messaging with time. We know that there's messaging with location. We know that information already. I think that a conventional person might say, well, that means that it's haunted, that every night we see the spirit moving and pacing and pacing. They must be stuck and tethered to this world. I don't see it that way at all. I just think that you, as an intuitive individual, have some coding and some messaging that hasn't been expressed yet. And the brother who had passed, unfortunately, by his own hand, that happened at 2:16 in the morning. So there's a connection to that timestamp. Do you need some assistance? Click on my link. Let's have a conversation. If you're being woken up in the morning at the same time every single night, pay close attention. It could be a message.